everyone. Welcome to 2022.
Welcome.
That's right.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
here.
it will be. Yeah.
It will be
It
by
will
the time
be.
this goes out. It is just a scant 2 days until it will be the new year.
Man, oh man, I can't believe it. I can't believe how quick time goes. It's insane. Where does
Sounds
it go?
like the future. You know, the future is here.
Jeez.
It's amazing.
Generally speaking, I'd say the only real way that I keep track of the progress of time is when we save the podcast after and we have to put the date on the file. And every single time, Sips goes, February 2nd, fuck me, like every time.
Man, yeah, I know, but it's just like, I can't believe how quickly time passes. Like, the older you, like when I was a kid, man, it felt like just every day was an eternity. And now it's just like, every day is over in a heartbeat. It's crazy.
Do you think if we had, like, as human beings, our memories are very limited in a way? Like, we can recall amazing things, but I couldn't tell you really much of what happened over the last year. Although if I look back, actually I did quite a lot this year.
Yeah, well, we're creatures of habit, right? Like you get into routines, and then those routines just become your norm.
But much of that time is just nothing. It's just nothing happening.
Yes, unless something big happens, like for instance, like your wife has a baby, or like there's going to be big milestones peppered throughout the year, I guess. But for the most part, you're just doing the same shit, right?
Anymore, if anything real has happened to me, okay, I went to a hot pot this Christmas. Okay,
nice.
Which is pretty weird.
Yeah.
I've never really done one before, but
basically hot pot's amazing.
They had two gas burners on their like Christmas table, so it was like a Christmas meal. And two big metal pots of boiling hot water, bubbling away. They had the doors open, the kitchen doors open to the outside, so cold air is blustering in, but it's so hot in there anyway because of these constantly boiling hot pots of water. Right, and they throw in like everything, like tofu and some pak choy, some mushrooms. I bought some like fake chicken. We threw all that in. And you just basically, we had two pots, one for vegans and one for meat eaters, right? And so their pot was a lot greasier and looked a lot tastier. Ours was mostly like a really slow cooking piece of radish.
Wait, like they just threw meat into boiling water?
Boiling water. Yeah. Well, bacon and other stuff.
Meat that wasn't hot dogs? Because for me, it's only hot dogs that get boiled.
So they bring, it's very, very thinly sliced. So you basically, the whole point is it's not just boiling water. It's got all...
Is it like an Asian thing? Is it like a Korean barbecue kind of deal where it's like...
You put like some stuff in there if you want.
But it's all very flavored. Like sometimes they'll have a big pot and it's divided down the middle with a metal divider, and one side is very spicy and the other side is more just savory.
Right.
Yeah.
There's also, you add all flavors and stuff. And you put the meat and the veg in, and the meat, you don't have to put it in there for very long. And then you pull it out, and you eat it, and it's very hot. And if you have the spicy one, very spicy and delicious.
Some of it will be done, like, instantly. Like, you put it in, and it instantly melts, and you pull it out straight away again.
Right.
So they got, like, these very thin sheets of, like, tofu and things like that are rolled up. And same with, like, bacon and stuff. And so, but you can put, like more thicker things in there, and they'll slowly cook, like a big piece of mushroom in there, and that will cook over, like, a couple of minutes, and then you can just grab it. But it's a very communal thing, very social.
It's so good.
Anyway, it was obviously boiling hot, but also cold. And so I think I'd taken my jacket off, and I don't remember this, or whether this was, I don't remember this actually happening, but I think this was a dream. This is what I'm saying about memory. I had like a really cheap, thin t-shirt on, right?
Right.
And you could see the outline of my nipples.
Well,
like very weirdly prominently, right?
Keep talking.
I'm almost there.
And I seem to remember someone commenting on it at the dinner table when we talked about it or had a laugh or something like that, but I can't really remember it happening. And so this morning when I woke up, I asked my partner, did that happen or did I dream that? And she was like, oh, yeah, that happened. So I was like, okay, good. But
nice.
Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I wasn't
you just
sure
had
whether
some protruding nipples.
It had gotten corrupted up in like a sort of a weird nightmare memory remembrance of the event. And that was only something that happened like a week ago. So that's how I feel about memory. And I'm not sure... I think you have to check with other people who were there, and even their memory is going to be all hazy. It's all messed up.
It is messed up, yeah. Hey, listen to this, okay? I had a dream the other night. What does this mean? I know you guys like to analyze dreams and stuff. None of them mean anything. Okay, tell me what this one means, because this was an alarming one, okay? So I was inspecting a house for some reason, and it was just kind of this old dingy house that had a basement. And so I looked around the house, and it was all kind of pokey and old, and it looked like one of those houses that like an old couple had died in, of old age sort of thing. It just hadn't been touched for decades and had like all the old electrics, and it was just a bit grubby, So I went down the basement, and the basement was really stuffy, like really gross and hard to like breathe in and stuff. And in my dream, I got down there, had a quick look around, and I was just like, yeah, okay, whatever. I don't need to look at more of this. It's kind of gross down here. Like, I got to get out of here. I walked back upstairs, and then you get up the stairs of the basement, and there's like a bit of a landing and like a hallway that leads back out into like another hallway. But when I got up to the landing, I couldn't fit through the hallway. Like I had to like go on my side to like shimmy through.
Oh, I hate those dreams.
But it was way too narrow, and I just could not get through.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, fuck, what the, like, I'm not going to fit through this.
You're saying you're too big. And you're trying to fit into a small
I didn't.
hole.
No, nothing like that happened though. Like it wasn't like I didn't become big. It wasn't like Alice in Wonderland or something like that. It was just.
So I think maybe subconsciously, and I don't. Like I said, I hate to read into dreams, but this feels like. Is there anything currently that has frustrated you in the last few months? I would say
just Dota.
It's to do with how big you are.
Oh no, nothing like that.
They're never that literal. I think it's always just there's something is frustrating you or has frustrated you, and you're still processing it. So
I mean, just some Dota, but like I wouldn't have thought that would manifest into a dream like that.
I don't think it might not be Dota. It might be something like, do you remember when you had your problem with the garage? Was flooded.
Yeah. Oh,
that
maybe
lingering frustration in the back of your mind.
Yeah, you've
I don't know. All that
stuff's
kind of sorted out now, though. Like I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it could be, but like it was just such a. I remember just feeling like not trapped. Even. I wasn't panicking. I was just like, oh crap! I'm like going to be stuck in here now, and then I just woke up. Because I didn't want to go back in that basement because it was just gross.
It's a very dad sort of situation.
Just giving up. Just going, oh well.
I guess I'm going to work from here now.
Yes, this is me now.
Just like crouched like a kind of goblin in a very small hallway.
So I'm just looking back at my Google Calendar for the year, and I thought I'd done a decent amount this year, but January I did nothing. I did a Magic the Gathering stream. And nothing.
Well, that was the Capitol riots in January, so that was taking up a lot of your brain power.
Okay. Yeah, I remember
that was a big event,
big time. I remember Flax was just like hitting the books hard. He was reading up to date. He had like 20 screens on in his room with all the different news outlets reporting and stuff.
Me.
He was
February.
Really
I had. Do you remember at the start of the year I talked about the ablation, the procedure with the heart thing? The very
yes,
yeah. That was February, but that was it. March.
I don't know what happened in February. I can't
March,
say.
Apparently, I did. We did that remote play thing. Sips, you did that.
Oh yeah, with Slacks, right?
Yeah.
And Lewis was in that too, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was actually.
Yeah, Lewis did that too. Yeah.
That was where the Ever Given got stuck in the Suez Canal. A big event.
That was my March.
That was hilarious.
Oh, I mean, like world news, like stuff happens around the world.
That was the funniest bit of world news that I've seen in forever. Yeah. God, that really was one of the highlights of my year. Actually,
oh man,
that boat game stuff.
Well, that was the whole month for me. I just did. I had my birthday. I did a couple of streams. I did remote play and I did a charity stream, and that's it. April did nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, I think we went away for a weekend.
Yeah, didn't you go? You went to Spain this year too, didn't you?
Yeah, that was
the volcano and stuff.
That was quite recently.
Yeah.
May. Just looking at May.
Well, it's still this year. It still counts. Like the year's not done
yet.
Did
nothing in May.
I don't think anything interesting happened in April either in
June,
the world.
Did nothing in June. Absolutely nothing.
Eurovision Song Contest happened in May. That was interesting.
Okay, come on.
July. Oh, I went down to Bournemouth one day in July.
You got vaxxed, I guess. When did you get vaxxed? In June or something?
Yeah, June or July. Yeah,
probably earlier, right? Because you actually had COVID early on too, didn't you?
I did, but
that was 2020.
I got
right?
mine after. No, that was this year, wasn't it? COVID jab 15th July. There you go. So that's when I.
No. You got your.
I had it in December last, so a year ago.
Yeah.
I actually had my booster on the 23rd, I think, and I felt we spoke about it, Lewis.
We spoke about it on 23rd.
I literally had nothing for exactly 12 hours. Like, had the jab at 9:30. I was literally fine. Bang on 9:30 p.m. Almost exactly 12 hours later, hit me like a truck. I spent the whole next day feeling shitty. I had a really bad night's sleep that night.
Me too. But I've been talking about other people, and other people have had no impact from their booster at all.
My eldest had her booster because they gave it to 12-year-olds. She had it, and she was like, I feel a little bit bad, but I'm fine.
I felt a bit shitty, and then for about a week after, I couldn't smell or taste anything. I was a bit bunged up.
Wow.
And I thought maybe I had COVID, but I tested myself every day, and it never came back positive. So, and now I feel fine. So I don't know. I don't know if it was relating to the booster or if it was just general, because there's just been a ton of sickness going around generally from schools and stuff. You know.
Did I come down to see you guys in July?
We did the bolt action video.
Oh, so that would have been mid-July. I've got Bristol on my calendar for like 5 days. I guess I came down.
We need to keep better diaries of our year. Maybe that should be like.
But you know what? My year is an easy one because it felt like half of the year was waiting for the baby to be born, and then the baby was born mid-July, and the rest of the year has just been dealing with born baby.
God, that's been your year.
That's been the year. Yeah.
Oh, I had my 20th wedding anniversary. We had that.
Oh wow!
And then we had a party. A few days after that, we had we renewed our vows.
Nice.
Where we got a bunch of the people that were at the original wedding and a bunch of our friends and stuff that we've made since, and we had a big party. That was really a lovely day.
A lovely day.
It really was.
That's really wholesome.
I did go to Romania. That was true.
Oh yeah, that's right. You went to TI. Yeah, you've done quite a bit, Flex.
I actually have.
You've done way more than I have. Like I said, it was really just waiting for baby, and then after baby. That's it for me. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything.
Well, you did do something. You made a person. That's pretty fucking
true.
amazing.
Yeah, that's enough, I guess, for a year.
Well, his wife did the majority of the making. Sips sort of bought some of the materials.
She needed my maple syrup though for it to happen. So
yeah, I mean, it's just it's as important as the pancake, but I mean, she baked it for 9 months, and you just provided the yeast.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, somebody's got to
way to make it unwholesome.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing really that wholesome about getting a sprog going. By the way, thank you for the lovely Christmas family stuff, Sips. Sip sent me like a little photo of Babby and Christmas Babby.
I didn't actually send it, but
very cute. Thank you, kids, for sorting it out.
I will thank them. Yeah. They spearheaded the whole operation. And thank you likewise for the gifts and stuff.
You provided the paper,
yes,
and all the work and mailing and everything else.
Yes,
was done.
I was the chief financial officer of the whole
project.
Thing. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah,
that's it.
No, I remember there was a time when was it last week I spoke to you and you just said I'm going out every day to buy something for baby or family. It's just like every day.
Oh, it was insane. Something. Yeah, it's been nice, like with Christmas. Like, thank Christ it's over. But at the same time, it's kind of nice because when Christmas hits, everything's closed. You can't go to town to get anything else, right? And then a couple of days
you just have
after,
to wrap the baby up in tea towels or whatever we run out of.
And then a couple of days after, everybody's just so burnt out that nobody wants to do anything. So it's been actually kind of nice, like a recovery, because the lead up to Christmas is just it's like a zoo, right? Like every time you go to town too, fuck me, I don't know what people are doing. Like there's so many people rushing around trying to get stuff and everything, and you just think, oh my god, it's just not worth it.
It amazes me, like if you think about, especially given the amount of online shopping that people do these days. I still don't understand how every year there are that many people for whom shopping on the last day possible to buy things is still their go-to shopping day. Like, surely once is enough. Like,
have some chill about it as well. Like, I mean, if you're in that situation, I mean, clearly you've got better things to do if you've left it to the last minute. But if you're in the situation where you've left it to the last minute, don't have a meltdown in public. You know, like it's nobody else's fault or problem that you've decided to do this at this time, right? So like, I feel like at least they could just be reasonable about it. But so many of these people are like honking at you because you're taking too long to park and stuff like that, and you just think, come on, like what are you doing? Like, how has your life gotten to this point where you're actually behaving like having like a tantrum like a child in public because your timekeeping is bad? You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's crazy. I don't understand how people become like that or start like that or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's a vicious cycle, right? Like, I'm the same. Like, my timekeeping gets worse if I'm more depressed, and then that causes me to get even more behind every time.
Yeah.
You know, like if I just actually sat down and did my taxes, I wouldn't worry about doing my taxes every day. Do you know what I mean? Like,
shit! I haven't done my fucking taxes.
Well, this is what I'm saying. It's frustrating. Sorry to remind you.
Well, what I like to do is when I get stressed to the gills like that, I like to leave my house and go out and make it everybody else's problem by acting like an asshole. I find that that's the best therapy.
You drive into town, you beep at people.
Yes, yeah, I make it everybody else's problem. I guess it's like a deflection or something.
Maybe it's a cycle. Maybe you eventually become that asshole in the parking lot. You know,
maybe
like at one point in your life, you are the guy being beeped at, and then at another point in your life, you're
the beep. You're the beeper, and no longer the BP.
Yeah, God. Exactly. And I think that maybe is the best way to think about. You know, we're all just part of this same planet. You know,
sure,
part of a shared organism.
Yeah,
like hairs. On the top of a big head floating in space.
Man.
That's what we are.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I want to share with you that I just watched the end of season 2 of Succession, and man, what a show.
Oh wait, dude, season 3 is even better.
Okay, well, I mean, season 2 was insane. Like,
season 2 is fantastic.
Every episode was some sort of social gathering or something, but it was so good. Like it really fleshed out how insane everybody is and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, Connor is hilarious, eh? Fuck,
he's so fucking stupid.
He's so fucking insane. You just want to
smack him.
Yeah, but he's so sort of well written in the sense that like you just know that there's people out there exactly like him.
100%.
Like,
but honestly, season 3, I loved season 1 and 2. Season 3 was next level. Like there are a couple of episodes that are just mind-bogglingly good.
Oh, great.
So yeah, it's a really good show. I just need to do something. I will be 1 second. Carry on.
Oh,
okay.
Go for it.
Well, anyway, Lewis, if you haven't watched it yet, I would suggest it. It's a good one.
I've got it ready to go.
Queued up. It's all ready.
It's definitely on my. It's the next thing.
Have you ever watched the Italian crime thriller Gomorrah, the TV series? Because the 5th and final season just came out. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm a big fan. I can't wait to watch it.
I haven't. I did tell you what I did watch. I watched Don't Look Up.
I heard that that's meant to be pretty good. It's got DiCaprio in it, right?
It's not bad. It's enjoyably goofy, but it's kind of depressing as well when you think about it. It's weird. Didn't you think, Lewis?
It's a lot like Idiocracy. Do you remember that movie?
What's the premise of the thing? It's like the end of the world, but like nobody even cares or something?
Yeah. So DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence. This is we're not going to spoiler it for anybody that hasn't watched it, okay?
J-Law.
DiCaprio and J-Law discover that there is a comet, and they quickly do the maths, and it's headed straight for Earth.
But they're the only people who realize that this is the thing?
They discover it first.
All
and
right.
They go out there and they tell the people that they think should be told, you know, the department of whatever, you know, the guy who's in charge of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they take it to the president, and they're given this meeting with the president, and they're left waiting for the whole day. And they're like, oh, well, sorry, the president's got a crisis. You know, they've got to choose this Supreme Court nominee or whatever. And they're like, no, this is going to be here in 6 months. Like, this is important. And they're like, yeah, don't worry. They have to come back the next day. And there's just like no urgency. And they're like deciding whether to time when they release it.
There's some other president. It's basically the president is a kind of Donald Trumpian kind of laissez-faire, well, is this going to help my ratings or not, kind of thing.
But that's Meryl Streep. She's really good as the president.
She's really does it really well, kind of as a ignorant kind of, just kind of, I don't know, like a modern day. A modern day president, right?
Yeah.
Like, it used to be presidential, used to be this kind of accolade.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of this sleepy, political, kind of like weird
it's
sort
weird.
of role.
It's changed
where
a lot, right?
The decisions are not for the good of humanity. They're for the good of the rich or the kind of getting re-elected. Or themselves, right? It's very bizarre.
I feel like attitudes towards the president have changed a lot too, because in the 80s it was very much all like, Mr. President, get down. But like nowadays, I don't think anybody would say, Mr. President, get down. I don't think anybody gives a shit, right? It'd be like, okay, well, Joe, I gotta go. See you later. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think anyone's getting down for the president anymore or helping them get down.
I thought it was brilliant. You know, there's this great bit in it where they do a poll and like 25% of people don't even believe there's a comet coming. You know, that's the kind of attitude towards this comet, right?
And the reason it's called Don't Look Up is they have this slogan, you know, saying these people are lying to you. There's no comet coming, all this kind of stuff. And then there's like there's a sort of Elon Musk sort of character, sort of he's kind of like he's in charge of this huge like Apple kind of this weird crossover between Tesla and Apple. This super rich company has got all these weird high tech plans, and it is interesting. It is very silly. I would say the one issue I have is that this is obviously quite a serious take, quite an obvious take, you know, on how people are ignoring things. You could just replace the word comet with the word COVID.
Yes.
It would be very topical and all that kind of stuff.
Sure, yeah.
So it's quite frustrating, and it's also you think, wow, this probably is kind of how it might be, and it's also a lot of stuff about climate change you feel is in there and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's made from a very liberal point of view, which is this is the truth and you guys just aren't listening. And since I am on that side, I certainly feel their frustration. But at times it's played for laughs, and at other times it's quite serious. And I think it kind of veers between those two tones a bit too much at times.
Right.
But it is good.
It is a bit. A lot of people say it's a bit too smug, but actually, I thought it was hilarious and I loved it.
It was it was good. I enjoyed it. It's definitely worth a watch for sure.
I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah. So Don't Look Up. Recommend.
I will watch it.
I also, if you want a complete change of pace from Don't Look Up, I finished watching The Terror, which is a 10-part series on iPlayer. It's made by AMC. It's got Jared Harris in. Who was he was the scientist in Chernobyl, if you remember, who gave the presentation.
He's also Harry Seldon in Foundation.
Oh, is the Terror is that the one about the ship?
Yeah, the two ships, the Terror and the Erebus.
Right.
And they set out in the sort of around 1850.
I watched this earlier in the year.
It's really good.
Oh, right.
You recognise a lot of the people, but it's very Northwest Passage. It's grim.
Mrs. F found it too grim and bleak.
Too grim.
Did she?
Yeah,
I loved that. I thought that was really good.
I said the grimmer and bleaker, the better. And I love that setting, that era of sort of, you know, just the late era age of sail when they've almost got technology. I was talking about it on stream the other night about how when it comes to medicine, they were so close to actually getting things right, but they still were like, well, this tonic will relieve dropsy of the knee. You're like dropsy of the knee, you know, and there lots of tonics and stuff like that because it's like that pre-Victorian era
herbs,
and so they were starting to do things like anatomy and science. The scientific method was really starting to kick in, but they still had these weird hangovers from the 18th century where they were like, this curative will solve your problems, and of course it just doesn't. So. And they didn't really understand
4 drops of morphine 8 times a day.
Right.
That's what
Apply
you need.
laudanum to the infected toenail. This will drive out the evil humors. You know, it was
the evil humors.
Yeah.
The palsy. Yeah. There's always some palsy.
They didn't quite understand scurvy. So as I understand it, obviously scurvy, vitamin C. And in fact, being stuck in the Arctic Circle for as long as they were, vitamin D would probably also have been a big problem. But I guess that might be easier to come by, because you can eat oily fish. I think can give you vitamin D. Anyway,
what was the theory? I think the theory was that a lot of the theories have been passed around about what killed the Franklin expedition on the Northwest Passage. And obviously, this is a fictionalized account of terror, so it's all very supernatural. But the actual, there was a lot. I think we mentioned this before, but they had a fresh water production thing in the ship, because the ship was one of the first steam-powered, kind of turbine-driven ships, right?
Right.
And it had, as part of that, it had a thing that generated fresh water, but apparently it put a lot of lead in it. There was also a chat that a lot of the food was done in tinned, and it was like the cheapest bidder, and that was all poisoned.
Yeah, it was all the lead soldering, if you like, on the lead soldering on the tin.
But the other thing that possibly was thought to have maybe killed them was when they kill seals and eat the liver, it's like massive amounts of vitamin A or something like this. I can't remember at all. But like eating seal meat, if you're not careful, can just kill you.
Right.
Yeah. So seal livers and stuff apparently is
the
one
silent
of these
killer.
Yeah, like this load. So if you're stuck in the frozen north eating only seals, just avoid the liver, I think is the answer. But
right.
I don't know. Maybe that's the tastiest bit of the seal. Maybe you're missing out on some delicious seal liver.
When I'm getting ready to chow down, I'm looking forward to the liver most of all.
Do your own research.
That sounds pretty grim. I mean, it sounds interesting though. I'll probably check it out. I watched the movies that made us on Aliens, which was kind of interesting.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was a really good one. I liked that.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
With the guy that was originally going to be Hicks.
Yes.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
he's gone on to have a decent career, but it was
just decided to do some heroin while they were filming and got caught doing it as well.
I thought my favorite part was the differences between the American and the English crews.
Yes.
Was that the Americans,
Pinewood,
like the way they did things was very different. Obviously for the Brits, tea breaks are factored into any production.
Yeah.
So the bit where James Cameron, being a very precise director, he came across as kind of an asshole, but at the same time, sometimes you were like, I understand where he's coming from, and the film does look amazing.
Yeah,
like his films age really well, apart from Avatar, I think, because he gets everything sort of just so. But obviously, in a creative industry, people kind of get ticked off. But they had this scene with all this smoke that he wanted just so, and he got it just so. And then the doors open to the studio, and in comes the tea lady. Anybody want a cup of tea?
Yeah, and all the smoke started seeping out. Yeah.
I just thought that's
took them all day to smoke up the room because it was this huge room. And she opened the door, and all the smoke went out. And he already was like very annoyed with the tea break, the regular tea breaks and stuff, because he'd sort of come from this working environment where it was just like, all right, everybody hands on, we're going to work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to get this done. No breaks and stuff. So he was like, I don't know. It driven, I guess, and maybe a bit insane, but I mean, I guess he got the job done too. Like he made some pretty iconic movies.
It's a great movie. It is.
James Cameron's Avatar 2 is only a year away.
Oh my
December
God.
2022.
I'm so excited. I'm going to be
for.
kicking my legs in my bed every night before I go to sleep. I'm so excited.
Does anybody actually give a shit?
No, I don't think so.
Is there an Avatar fan base out there? I guess there must be. There is for everything.
Yeah, I think there is.
But I've yet to meet anyone who talks about things they're looking forward to, and Avatar 2 is one of the things. I honestly
know, it's kind of one of those things that's ticking over in the background.
I need to see Dune still. I heard it's really good.
It is very good.
I haven't gotten around.
There's going to be
three
new Avatar movies.
There's meant to be a bunch of Dune movies as well, right? There's going to be like.
Well, I've got to finish the bloody rest of the.
Yeah, because then they do like a third of the book or something. Isn't there like 20 books though? There's like
but they won't go into those.
No, the rest of the books are pants, really.
Right.
Well, they're okay, but it's just more guppins in the same universe.
As I understand it, Paul turns into a sandworm in one of the books.
I finished watching season 2 of The Witcher as well.
Oh, good. Yeah, The Witcher. Every episode of The Witcher was like at the end of it, I was like, this is written so badly. It felt like Game of Thrones, where people just teleport around the world randomly. People are all over the fucking place. No one's clear about who's working for who. There are all loads of little minor factions that don't even matter.
Yeah.
No one really fights. He kills like 1 or 2 bad guys per episode, but it's not even clear that they're bad guys.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's kind of very
It's all right. I don't have any investment in it, you know. It's just like whatever. Like I don't even know what
I love watching Geralt and Ciri go around, and they're great, but everyone else can fuck themselves.
Yeah. It was just fine, you know. It was all right. It wasn't like life changing, but it doesn't need to be either.
Same as the first season.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was just all right.
It's just more of all right.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah, it was okay.
But yeah, I love the Terror P-Flex. Second season of it is set in a Japanese internment camp, so it's one of these anthology ideas where it's like completely different.
Whoa! There's another series of the Terror?
Yeah. Season 2 of the Terror is completely different actors, different setting, different. It shouldn't have even called it the Terror, but I think that
it's kind of like that American Crime Story format, right? Where it's
wait. When is this out?
It came out like 2 years ago.
Are you serious? There's another series?
Oh man.
Yeah, but it's not again.
No,
it might as well be a different show.
I fucking love when that happens. You know, when you're just like you don't realize that there's more of something that you liked, and you find out, and you're just like, oh shit, yeah, I know exactly what I'm going to be doing later. Just binging like crazy. Like I remember that happened one time with Hip Hop Evolution, the documentary series. I was just browsing through Netflix and it was like new season. I was like, holy shit, yeah. I just watched like the whole thing in one go.
Oh, I had no idea. That's exciting. Yeah. I also watched I was in the mood. I don't know why I love the idea of especially like men trapped on a ship undergoing some terrible event.
It's a good setting. It's a good setting for a story, though, isn't it?
It is. I watched Crimson Tide because that was.
Yeah.
I thought I love Submarine.
What about
stuff.
Das Boot? You should watch Das Boot next.
I've seen Das Boot many times.
There's a TV series as well on Sky Atlantic, I think. It's like I'm not sure if it's HBO or something, but there's a Das Boot TV series, like a long running one. It's meant to be quite good.
They serialized the original movie ages ago. They turned it into a TV show. I'm not sure if German viewers may be able to correct me, but as I understand it, Das Boot, that we saw as the film Das Boot, was originally a TV series in Germany and was longer. Might be wrong about that.
I'm not sure.
Or they took the movie and cut it into bits for British television. I can't remember which, because it is quite long. But I know there's something. Someone will know. Anyway, I can't remember, but let me know. But basically, Das Boot, for anyone who doesn't know, is about a German U-boat captain, Jürgen Prochnow, I think, and his crew, and their mission to go out and fight in the Atlantic as the wolf pack sort of thing.
Yeah,
and it's great. It's a really good submarine movie, and it's a lot of the staples of submarine sort of World War II stuff, I think, came from.
Man, I would be shitting my pants working
Can you
on
imagine
a submarine.
It? Like,
no,
I'm claustrophobic as it is, but
Ugh.
being underwater, and they're like, we are passing 150 meters, Captain. The hull is going clonk, 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 clonk. I don't know how they do it.
I think the weirdest thing, I think about that, and then I think about, space travel or being in a spaceship or even being in an airplane. But the difference is that when you look out the window into space or out of an airplane, you can actually see stuff, like you have some concept of where you are. But when like underwater, there's no windows. And even if there was windows, you wouldn't be able to see shit anyway.
Right.
It just is just the extra layer of sheer terror that I don't need and I don't want.
So here's an additional layer for you. I watched, there's a guy, I think it's Smarter Every Day is the YouTube channel. He does videos about science and sort of experiments that he's come up with.
Is his name Derek Smarter?
I don't know.
Because if his last name was Smarter, that would be so fucking good, right? Smarter Every Day. No,
that would be.
Yeah,
but I sadly I don't think
he comes across as a very nice guy.
Gary Smarter.
A little too nice. A little too sort of over the top.
Yeah, I'm suspicious.
Yeah. But anyway, he goes on a nuclear submarine in America. An American nuclear submarine at the North Pole. What they do with this is that this submarine is practicing being underwater at the North Pole because it's quite a good location to be for a submarine.
It just sounds like he's just one-upping himself constantly. Like he's on a nuclear submarine in the North Pole on Christmas in the nude. Like, it's just like what else can this guy do at the same time?
He I don't know how he got the clearance, but he did. I think he's got a lot of fans, and I think some of them worked for the Navy. And this science experiment sort of thing that they're doing up there, not independent of the Navy, looking at the movement of ice and how the sub can break up through the ice. Because it just crashes up through the ice, and then they chip away at it, open the hatch, and they're like, yay. Anyway, they have on these big submarines a piece of string that runs the length of the sub, and it starts off quite quite taut. And as the submarine shrinks under the pressure of the water, the rope gets slacker and slacker. That's sort of a little measure that they've got for how much the hull has crushed.
Slackness.
And everything in the ship, if you imagine if you had an office, you wouldn't have cupboards like right next to each other. There has to be some gaps, because as the submarine literally shrinks under the pressure of that water, everything gets a little closer together, and everything has to be on these sort of movable bays so that there's room for them to be crushed as the ship literally shrinks, which I thought was just incredible. I had not anticipated that the ship would shrink that much. But while they're underwater, you can see that the rope, the string goes from very, very loose to very taut as the ship sort of shrinks. I thought that. Oh, sorry, very tight to very, very, very untaut.
Right.
Because the ship has shrunk that much. It's incredible.
That sounds pretty cool, actually.
The engineering on these things is nuts. Like, it reminds me of these. I watched there's this channel on YouTube called the B1M, which I think is just one guy making like really well produced engineering and like kind of architecture videos. And he made this video the other day about these Billionaires Row in New York, where it's like all of these incredibly fancy developments, right? And what they do is they have to buy a bit of land, which is obviously really expensive and really small.
It's always in like Manhattan as well, right?
So. Yeah. And then you have to buy the air rights to the land adjacent, right? So you have to buy, basically, if you buy a block, you then have to buy the 8 blocks around it in like a grid, and get the air rights for those. And if you can secure those, then you can build your skyscraper, right? Because the point is that it's not just the air rights for the land that you have got. You have to make sure that if they wanted to build on their square, it wouldn't obscure yours, right? So you need to secure like the views and stuff. Anyway, they built these things, and there's all these stupid rules. So, for example, if it's a mechanic, you're only allowed to build so high, but mechanical floors don't count. And also,
what's a mechanical floor?
So, obviously, a mechanical floor is one. Like, if there's one called 432 Park Avenue, which 25% of the floors are mechanical floors, where they're basically just empty, and they allow the wind to blow through to stop it.
Oh, right,
over.
Yeah.
So these things have like there's like rules about ratios, but they're allowed to go above the ratios if they do certain things, right? And so anyway, this one has like one of the worst ones. Like, I'd say worst. They're like super slender. They're like this stick basically. They're 1 to 26 is the worst one, which is it's 26 high and 1 wide type ratio, which is crazy, right? It's like it's like a 1,500 feet tall, but only like a kind of 100 feet or less than that, like 80 feet at the base. It's like super slim.
Wow.
And obviously they have hardly any space, right? Like this one is obviously 85 stories, right? But 25% of them are mechanical floors with this huge and they've got this huge pendulum in them as well, right? Which means that's how they basically stay up, these incredibly awfully looking unstable looking skyscrapers. They have like a mega pendulum in them, so if they start tipping to one side, the pendulum kind of creeps and keeps them in place.
There's a whole bunch of buildings in I think Singapore.
There's like an 800-ton pendulum.
Yeah, they do the same thing. There's like these gigantic pendulums inside.
Hang on. So they must have a mechanical thing to push this pendulum the other way from the way the building's leaning. Otherwise, it's just going to make it worse.
No. So that's just held by gravity. So obviously, if it starts to lean to one side, the pendulum obviously is still pulled by gravity to correct the building, and so it leans it back where it was.
It gives it like because if it's too rigid, it's a problem. So it gives it like the most efficient flexibility or something.
Right,
like
but
that.
hold on. So I've got a structure. Just imagine. I know Lewis can't imagine pictures in his mind, but you can draw it if you like, all right? Imagine a rectangle with a pendulum hanging in it.
Yeah.
The building starts to lean over to the left because of extreme winds. The pendulum, is that not now also...
I see what you're saying.
Is that not now
pulling it the wrong way?
Yeah. Or is it that the downward force of the pendulum helps to, because it's independent of the building, its main angle is downward.
Yeah, no, it's the downward force. If you look at the calculation, I think it's like F equals G over 5 2 to the power of 3. Repeating, of course.
It's not actually a pendulum. It's called a tuned mass damper, a harmonic absorber, which is on springs and has something. It's complicated.
I'm going to read it up.
It looks like it looks in some buildings, like when you see this thing, it looks like the room in the building that's like the Gozer Shrine. You know, like it just looks fucking crazy.
Yeah,
like it just looks insane. Like nothing you've ever seen before, kind of thing.
Yeah,
well, they have them in F1 cars as well.
Pendulums.
They've got them in a lot of buildings to kind of keep them. The Burj Al Arab. Oh, that's not the one I was thinking of. Has 11 apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like one which is 730 tons in
I think
Taipei 101.
Taipei, and there's a bunch in Singapore as well, right? It's like really tall buildings in Singapore where they've used the same. I think it's just like the way to do it now, you know?
Yeah, it feels like so anyway, there's tons of these buildings, and they're ludicrous because they're half empty, right? Because people buy them as like an investment, right? But like almost like, so for example, these buildings are they're so thin that you can't buy individual flats. There's no hallways. The elevator opens into the middle of the flat. Every flat is an entire floor, but some of them are 2 floors.
So that's quite common in American apartments, is that the elevator opens into, like, that's why you need a key to get to each floor. You don't just push button 15 and you're on 15th
Yeah, you go in the
floor.
elevator,
you go in the elevator,
press your key and it takes you to your house specifically, which feels like hackable AF. But I'm sure it's
lock-picking
fine.
lawyer up there.
Yeah.
Today we'll be breaking into the penthouse apartment of Jennifer Lawrence.
Well, that 432, but that's empty, right? Like a lot of these things are they're so expensive, but they're also kind of, because they're kind of like very robust. Apparently, the idea is that they're more liquid, so people can trade them more in a tokenized way, like more easily, because they're so consistent.
What, the buildings?
Valued? No, yeah, these super rich, they're basically just like a form of currency amongst the super rich, to be able to just trade up or, quickly dump a lot of money into property and then get it back out again. Kind of, I don't know.
I know that, a lot of the, obviously London, prior to Brexit, there was an awful lot of apartments being built. Especially if you go to Canary Wharf and around that area, there's like dozens of huge skyscrapers,
and like in the East End too, right? Like the Docklands.
That's Canary Wharf is in that area in Docklands, so that's East London in general. The further east you go, the shittier it gets, and it's still pretty shitty. But all around that bit, that is essentially around the Jubilee line and the DLR, that quickly get into the city if you need to, or into Canary Wharf and all that. Those buildings are all luxury apartments, like huge blocks of luxury apartments, all with names that imply that if you live in here, you will be literally a sky king or queen, lording it over everybody else. Those are those kind of names.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Cloud City for amazing people,
Yes.
The Paradise Apartments in the heaven. Those kind of names.
It's like having a throwaway thing to mention at a dinner party if you're super rich. It's like, oh, where are you staying? I'm staying at the 432. It's like, it's kind of this seen as like this accolade because they're worth
so
20 million, 30 million, and they're so consistently valued at that price.
But a lot of them are bought by foreign investors.
Staying at 420 Weed Place.
And also companies buy these apartments.
Oh, yeah.
So that when they have people over, they can say, we'll put you up in our penthouse, and then it helps liquidate the deal a little bit more, lubricate, I should say.
Plus it's tax avoidance is a huge thing, right? So a lot of these buildings are built here, but then they build like 100 units of affordable housing in the Bronx or somewhere, and then that way they can avoid paying like a certain amount of tax. And so the average, if you own like one of these mega rich skyscraper, it's almost certain that you are not going to have to pay any property tax on it at all. Apparently, it's like one of these things where companies can get away with it as a tax avoid. It's a whole thing where the government have kind of encouraged housing to be built in the city or in Manhattan, And so as a result, there's all these loopholes that people have exploited in order to build these. And they wouldn't have been built without it. You know, these super tall, slender, mental buildings, they look mad. They actually look mad. It's like, when you think about it, it's like, why would you build something with such a small relative floor space, right? Because it's like, compared to like the One World Trade Center, it's obviously roughly the same height, but it's got like 1/100th of floor space or something like that because it's so skinny.
Wow.
And it's like,
I feel like the skinnier would be worse because apparently those big buildings can move by up to 1 meter and can give people motion sickness near the top end. And that's with the dampener.
Well, a lot of people were saying, like, because there were a lot of problems with these buildings that they built, complaining about the dampener and the noise of it and stuff, and the springs and whatever creaking and clonking away in the wind. They said it was intolerable.
Yeah.
But I mean,
like, it doesn't make any noise, but it has like a little voice box where it dampening activated, dampening, and it just keeps repeating itself. Turn that thing off. I'm trying to sleep. Oh man.
Dampening. Yeah, that would be.
It's like one time I was in a hotel and slept in like one of the suites that was right next to the lift shaft or whatever, and it was just constant clonking and banging, and I was like, oh my fuck, I couldn't believe it.
You were just mad that the clonking and banging wasn't happening inside your room, am I right?
I mean, definitely, or else I wouldn't have noticed the clonking and banging of the lift shaft. Yeah,
that'd be such a good flex to put on like TripAdvisor or something, right? Like, I noticed a lot of people complaining about the noise of the elevator. I have to say, I didn't notice because I was having loud sex all night long in my hotel room. I couldn't hear anything else because I was in the throes of passion.
The suite next to mine would have been even noisier.
That would be a good place.
Before we continue, I want to thank this week's sponsor, ExpressVPN. Sips, PFAX, when you use the bathroom, you always make sure to close the door behind you, right? You don't want random passers-by looking in on you.
Man, the amount of stuff I ate over the holidays, if I didn't close the door, it'd be a health hazard to my whole neighborhood after I went.
Exactly. So protect yourself, your family, and your neighborhood by installing ExpressVPN. Your ISP knows every single website you visit.
What, every single one?
And do sell this info to ad companies and tech giants. Incognito on your browser is not enough.
I just want to say for the record, I do not cheat at Wordle. I do not have the 20th source open for Wordle websites.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I use ExpressVPN on all of my devices. I recommend you do too. expressvpn.com/Triforce. You know, your online activity is your business.
Yeah.
So you can get 3 months free. expressvpn.com/Triforce. I recommend it. Check it out.
All right, so just checking my NextDoor group for my area, which is always funny. NextDoor is basically like a Facebook group on a separate website called NextDoor. I mean, these things already existed on Facebook.
Yes, NextDoor. Yeah.
So as I've said previously, there are several kinds of posts on NextDoor that are always there. Whose dog is barking? Whose cat is this?
Yeah.
I have lost my cat or dog. Has anyone seen those sullen teenagers in the street? What are they up to? Hi, I'm new to the area. Oh, and it seems to be mainly foreigners that do this introduction. Nobody else seems to bother. It always seems to be, hello, my name is, so-so from Poland, and I just want to say hello. And so 2 people will say hello, and someone will be like, why don't you go back to Poland or something like that? Like, that's NextDoor in a nutshell.
Why don't you go back? I mean, come on.
It's true. Warnings of scams is a very popular thread. So there's one where someone's warning about an Amazon scam. People complaining about the post office or some other public services, or the buses or something is a very, very popular one.
Yeah.
People complaining about cyclists or electric scooters. People complaining about the bin men. And that's pretty much, I've just loaded it up, and those are multiple of the top posts.
That feels
just
like
had a call from Amazon. It's a scam. Blah blah blah. And
suburban hell. This is it, isn't it? It's basically all the small talk that some local busybody would tell you if you were stuck with them.
It's literally
at a bus
what
stop
it is,
or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's someone here complaining about the parking in this area.
It's basically inside the mind of a local
Karen
arsehole.
Yeah.
Typical small-minded shitheads.
Yeah.
And then there's a post about a guy complaining about the complaints. He says, I'm going to have to leave this app soon. It has so many people with nothing better to do than moan about utter nonsense. It's like,
what else do you put on there, though?
He says
what
it's like having
say?
not one, but hundreds of these really annoying neighbors who sit at home all day, complain about the tiniest inconvenience. I'm scared to fart now in case I suddenly see a post and it's ruined someone's day.
Man.
140 comments.
Well, that's exactly the case, though. Like, how do you make it positive? Like, oh, you should definitely smell the flowers at number 9. And then the person at number 9 is going to be like, don't you fucking smell my flowers.
Yeah, get away from my flowers.
Yeah, loads of creepy people coming and sniffing my flowers.
Then someone's saying that
like, you cannot win.
There is no such that all property is theft, and then it goes from there. The electric scooters is a thing. You know, you see these around. You can hire them I assume with an app, and you get on the scooter and you drive it. Now, have you ever used these?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, I used one recently.
I used one in Portugal and feared for my life every time, but it was fun. But it was dangerous as well.
I do have a question. They're always like at a station somewhere, like a docking station where they're charging up. You go up. I guess you connect with your app and it goes and unlocks one.
Yeah.
You take the scooter, you ride it off.
Yeah.
When you're finished, do you just leave it?
Yes.
No, you have to scan it again, and then you usually have to take a picture of where you've left it to prove that you didn't steal it.
Yes.
And so the next person can find it as well.
Yeah.
But you could just leave them anywhere.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
You can, yeah.
You can't. Well, it depends. In Bristol,
usually,
you have to.
Like even over here now,
you can only park them in specific places.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise you could just leave it on the fucking beach.
Some places and some people do, yeah. And what they do is they go around with a van and collect them all up.
So some people, you could get paid to go and collect up all the ones at the end of the day that have run out of charge and take them back to the depot. So yeah, that does happen.
Okay.
But it's weird, and I reckon they cost so little. I think they cost like probably £100 max, to get one made. Like if they buy them in bulk, probably even less. And, they cost sometimes it's like £5 or £10 for a quick ride on one, at least in my experience. And so, you get 10 people using one and suddenly you're in profit for that thing. And, it doesn't matter that they get knackered and lost and so
here's a question. I want to go shopping.
Yeah.
Right? I come down to Bristol in a few months' time. I decide I want to go shopping. Find the nearest bank of scooters. Head up to Cabot Circus on my scooter because it's a fucking schlep getting up there otherwise. Get to the shopping centre. Where do I put my scooter?
There'll be loads of places to stop around. So if you look at your app, it'll tell you on a little map where you can put it. But yeah, like Sip said, in a lot of cities, you can just dump it anywhere. Yeah. But again, I think that a lot of cities have their own rules for how these things can operate.
But how do I get back? I want to get back.
You want to get back?
Yeah, so I want to save my scooter. Can I just say, I'm parking it here, I will return, no one else take it?
Yeah,
please.
because if somebody goes to scan it and it hasn't been checked back in yet, it'll say on the app.
They can't
activate.
Yeah, I mean, your timer will keep running.
Right,
you could leave the.
You're still paying.
You could leave the timer running.
But what if I'm happy to pay?
Well, someone else might grab it and go off on it because it's already activated.
Oh, it's because it's already out. So they might nick it. That's my question. So I would need to park it there and say I'm parking it here. But if I'm in Bristol, I have to park.
But if you park it at a bank, though, and there's tons of other ones, you just check it in, and then when you come back, you just check out another one.
So if I was going to a mate's house, would I take it inside? And that way I've got it, and it's just...
Well, yeah, I think so. Again, you'd have to keep the timer running.
Yeah.
Which is expensive.
So it does fall down if you want to ride back. If you want a one-way trip.
No, it's got a little stand so it won't fall over.
No, I mean I don't mean literally falls down. I mean,
I think you're looking at it. I think you're looking at it from the point of view of like somebody who was born in and around the 80s who had their own bike and used that as a primary mode of transport for a lot of their life. I don't think they're used like that now. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
I think it's just like I have to get to the theater and I don't care how I get back. Like I just need to go one way.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I got you.
It's not like you're not like hiring the thing for a day and using it like you would have used your bike like when you were a kid sort of thing. It's like you're just using it to get from A to B and then you figure out the rest of it after, I think. Is the way they designed it.
Give it a go.
Yeah.
Definitely give it a go. That's my tip. Just get on there.
Yeah.
Give it a little scoot around. It's good fun.
Because I know when we were using them in Lisbon, that we just did the same. It was like, do you want to walk there? Or, oh, hang on, there's 2 scooters here. Let's just take these. And then when you get to where you're going, you just check them in and you're done, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then when it comes time to go back or go home or something, you just figure it out. Either there's a scooter around, or you get a cab or walk or whatever, you know.
Yeah, they don't go fast enough for you to really injure yourself if you come off one. I mean, I'm sure people have died falling off them and get hit by cars and stuff plenty of times. But
I mean, people ride them on the road, which I always think is there's no difference to me between that and the old people I see on their mobility sort of moped, scooter, sit down, what are they called? It looks like a tiny tractor, you know, those things, the mobility scooters. I see old people on the road. When I was in Bournemouth last weekend, dropping my mum back after Christmas.
There was like a convoy of
there was a lot, but there was an old person on the dual carriageway on this thing. Like they will fucking treat them like a car.
You gotta be careful not to take a wrong turn.
Just insane.
I'm sure there's been some scooters on the motorways, but God, you don't want to see that.
Wait. That's the door. Let's do.
All right, we're gonna stop.
Oh, you want to stop? I thought
we
would
got to stop. So I've got a meeting at 11.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All right. Well,
I'll come back to you. We'll do it next week.
All right.
Thanks everybody.
Bye.
Thank you
for listening. We'll see you next
week.
week.
Later.
Bye.